Are we recording? Yes. Hello, me again. I really do need a jingle. If anybody's musically minded and want to make me a jingle, my goofy teeth. So anyway, top tips basics video 2, or is it 3? No, it's 3, isn't it? 3. Yes. So you passed your test. Yay! I'm a trucker. Well, you're not. And I don't want to sound negative, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but passing your test is basically just a stage, a very initial stage. And not to dismiss, but as a professional driver, they don't really teach you how to drive a truck. They teach you how to pass the test most places. And I imagine there are probably some out there that are good at teaching you how to drive a truck, but most of them, they just basically, their plan is to get you through, and it's fair enough. It's like how it works. So that's the first thing. You have just passed the test, but that's it. That's all you've got. You've just got a license. This is where your learning begins. But as, again, any driver will tell you, and I will tell you, you'll be learning things about this job. No, that's not to say this job's like massively complicated or like degree level important, but you need to approach it with an open attitude and a willingness to learn. We've all met drivers, older drivers, who think they're God's gift to driving and won't ever be told anything ever. And they're normally the ones that make cock-ups. You'll learn from now till the end of your life, basically. As long as your mind's open to it. I still learn stuff all the time. So like I said to your previous video, I'm not doing these videos from a look at me, I'm so intelligent, listen to me point of view, just a helping point of view. And I don't think I'm, like I say, and I know I say this each video now, but you do have to say this because somebody will get the wrong end of the stick. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I just like talking to a camera. That's all there is to it. It's nothing more than that. I just like making videos. I like interacting with people. I like social media. That's why I do it. I don't do it because I think I'm brilliant. I've had some catastrophic accidents in my career. So I've got a very realistic view of the sort of driver I am. A twat. No, I'm not quite that bad. So yeah, so you start learning. I'm looking over here because I have to write notes down because I forget otherwise. So your next one. Your dream job is possible. As if you're on TruckNet, you'll have seen me recently having set twos with Carryfast, one of the a legendary TruckNet user. He's got this weird obsession with the fact that there's a trucking elite and that he thinks I'm in it. Who get all the best jobs, can walk into jobs, and people like him are overlooked and not given a chance. That's bollocks, absolute fucking bollocks. Yeah, there's a face fits thing, but nothing to stop you making your face fit. My view, my way has always been, and it's the same with I get it from Dad. I go in there, and wherever I'm going to work, and I just basically mould myself into what they want. That's all there is to it. Just be willing to change. Don't go around thinking you know everything and this is how you do it and blah blah blah. Just do what they want. The boss is paying your wages and he's bought you the truck you're sitting in. Just do it the way he wants, basically. That's the biggest thing. So that's the way your face will fit. Just do it the way he wants. That's not to say do anything the boss wants. I'll come back to that later on in the video. But obviously anything legal. So what's next? Alright, so when you set out, one of the things, this is the biggest negative, is you will struggle to get a job. The experience word is bandied around constantly. But keep trying. This Carryfast chap's always going on about how I'm one of the chosen elite. It took me 3 years to get a job after I passed my test, of trying constantly to get a job. I was driving buses and coaches all over Europe, but no one had given me a job driving a truck, and it was 24 before I got a job driving a truck. I would have, if I wasn't driving at all, I would have probably tried harder. Like I wasn't ringing up every week, different people. But I was trying a fair few each year of those years. And eventually I got to start with Nolan's, where Dad was. So, yeah, you will find it hard. But if it's what you really want to do, don't let that put you off. Absolutely never let that put you off. I've met people who are in other jobs who always dreamed of being a truck driver. Some of them got their license and couldn't get a job, and they regret it forever. So do it. Yeah, you might need a few job changes. When you do finally get work, like I say, mould yourself into what the boss wants. But your dream job, for instance, mine was always driving around Europe. I was always very set in my head. That's what I want to do. Ideally, like I would absolutely have loved to have done Middle East work, because I was obsessed with the children. I used to have an Astran poster on my wall, but I was just born too late for it. And I know it still goes on a very small scale, but I was just born too late. Like, so that's that. It's not something I've ever cried over. Yes. So yeah, you might need a few job changes until you find out what's for you. And but every job is equal. If you want to go in and work at Tesco driving trucks for 8 hours a day and be home every night, go for it. If that's what makes you happy, go for it. Don't let other drivers make out driving a supermarket trolley, as they call it, is any lesser than driving an FH16 around Europe. They're the same, just different. That's all there is to it. Like, people will look down on you depending on what job you get, and it's just so stupid. Like, you're just lorry drivers. So I've never understood that hierarchy. Like, and quite frankly, like the Tesco driver doing 8 hours a day is probably a hell of a lot more money than the driver of trucks around Europe. And money, that's a good thing. I've never been interested in money. This is why I'm skint now, but it's never been a priority. So most jobs I go to, I never even knew the wage before I got there, because I just didn't care. I took the job but that's just me. Like, for a lot of people, you won't have that attitude, and you can't have that attitude. You've probably may have families and stuff to support. So there's nothing wrong with being one or the other. I'm probably one extreme, to be honest. I probably should care a little bit more about money, but yeah, if you need the money and you want to go for the higher paying jobs, and that's it, like, do it. Like, nobody should think more of or less of you for that. So where are we going? That's another thing. It comes up a lot. Never be afraid to change jobs. So, like I say, when you are working out what you want to do, you might have to change jobs a few times, and you often see messages online, people, I feel bad for the boss and this and that. Don't feel bad. Do it the right way. Do it exactly how they stipulate in, say, the contract or whatever. So give them proper notice, work your proper notice, go on your way. And they will not think any worse of you. I've had so many jobs, and I could go back to most of them, because it's just the way it is. In this industry, it's very mobile. So there's nothing wrong with changing jobs. The boss will deal with that all the time. They won't think any less of you for it. Just leave on good terms, basically. That's another tip, is always leave on good terms if you possibly can, because you never know when you're going to need to ring them up and go back, because I've done that a few times with people. So next, don't feel you need to live somebody else's dream. Well, that's going back to what I was saying about driving trucks around Europe or a Tesco lorry. If, like I say, if you want to drive a Tesco lorry for 8 hours a day and home every night, go for it. Absolutely. Don't think you need to drive massive trucks around Europe to fulfill somebody else's dream, basically. Fulfill your own. That's all there is to it. Yes. And so when you have a job, sorry, I'm talking very quickly. When you have a job, as I said previously, mould yourself into what the company wants. In this job, and it sounds daft being as you're a driver, but driving probably comes fairly, for most companies, driving skill comes fairly far down the list, as long as you're not crashing every week, of course. But number one thing in this job is attitude. You go into companies, that's why my face fitted in places, because I moulded myself into what they want, and I had the right attitude. Your attitude basically should be, just go in there to help. That's what you're there to do. You're there to work with what they want you to do. And if you start out with like that, and do the shit they throw at you to start with, which most companies will throw a bit of shit at you to work out. They want to get to know you, and just do it. Eventually, better work will be coming. It's happened everywhere I've worked. My brain just froze. Yep. So attitude, like my view has always been, because you get all these drivers on ferries and stuff, bitching them. Oh, they asked me to do this, and I told them to F off. Never talk to officers like that. Half the time, those bullshitters are just talking absolute bollocks. It's a fantasy. But always treat the officers with respect, even if they're having a moan. And also, if you don't want to do a run, work out why, and if it's a valid reason, tell them. But don't, if there isn't a valid reason, just do it. Like, my view has always been, all the moaners, like, they'll bitch and moan about a job, they'll constantly bitch and moan to the office, and they'll still end up doing it, because that's the way it works. So, if they give you a run you don't like, just get on with it quietly, It's not the end of the world. So that's attitude. So anyway, just to finish off with, as I mentioned earlier, yes, go into a company with the aim of pleasing them, with doing what they want you to do, but there is a limit, of course. Listen to me, I'm telling you things. Don't let them walk all over you. You need to, again, a company needs to get to know you, and you need to get to know the company. But one thing is, don't listen to other drivers when it comes to looking for a job or taking a job. Every company you'll ever work for, somebody out there will be bitching and moaning about it online. Make your own decisions. But when you're in a company, don't let companies walk all over you. You need to work out, because you get a lot of people come online asking for advice because they've been going over their hours or whatever. And should they do it? Sorry. And this is where you've got to work out, hopefully you'll know what sort of company it is. So if it's a very rare event, you've been delayed, and you need to go over your hours once in a blue moon, it's not a problem. Right on the back of your taco printout, and explain, and just do it. If, though, this running out of hours happens on a regular basis, you need to find another job, basically. I spent a lot of my career running bent, legally, and that's not a boast. I'm not proud of it. It's just what happened. But nowadays, it's just, you might as well put a gun to your head. Like, there's just no reason to do it anymore. Not worth it. You're likely to get caught. So just don't do it. So if they do want you to run like over your hours regularly, and I don't know what is regular is, I don't know, I suppose what, like, if it was more than once a month, even like once a month maybe, it's probably still a bit too frequent for them to be going over your hours. But that's the absolute limit, I think, for me, would be like once a month. It's probably still a bit too frequent for them to be going over your hours. But that's the absolute limit, I think, for me, would be like once a month. If they wanted more than that regularly, it's time to move on, get yourself a new job. That's it really. That's my advice on sorting out. So just good luck, basically. You'll need it. It's hard to get a job, but once you get your first job, try and stick with it for a year or two to gain the experience. Because once you've got, it's like the Holy Grail. Once you've got that little bit of experience, all you need is 1 or 2 years experience, and all of a sudden, doors all over the place will open for you. All the doors that were shut suddenly open. That's all there is to it. So even if you get your first job and you don't really like it, it's worth sticking out for a bit just to get that experience. That's my advice. So I'll just go for my paper again. So that's it really. Just so to sum up, you've passed your test, great. Now you start learning. Now is the beginning of like a lifelong learning. Never be afraid to learn. Never be afraid to ask questions. If somebody says something that you're not sure about, ask what they mean, or ask somebody else. And I know it can be very intimidating when you're like 21 and you don't know something and you're in a room full of like loudmouth drivers. So that's partly why I'm doing the whole top tips, and it's also why I've got the email, which I'm going to put here somewhere. Email me questions. And if I don't know the answer to myself, which I won't to a lot of stuff, I will find out for you, because I can ask online with my many thousands of disciples. So yeah, just that's the way to go into the job. Go in, make your face fit, do what they ask, be polite, have a good attitude, but have a very definite line. Don't let people walk all over you. Don't let people make you run bent, because, like I say, in the past it was very common, but now, because of the enforcement, it's just not worth it ever. And if you do get caught running bent, like more than a couple of times, as a very new license holder, the traffic commissioner will possibly take a look at things for you, and you don't really want to be up in front of a traffic commissioner. That's it, really. So yeah, I hope these videos are helpful. I'm just like talking at you. What are you doing? You filming those bloody videos again? You're insufferable. You're a prick, Luke. A prick. Yep, there we go. So, anyway, it's Friday. Gonna get this uploaded today, and have a lovely weekend, everybody. Go out there and transport things. I certainly don't wish you a good day. I wish you plague and pestilence. But also, I've been asked to thank you for donating to Luke's sickness fund. It is very welcome. It's keeping me in pork chops. Personally, I think he's a scrounger and a freeloader. But there we are. I'm eating pork chops and drinking whiskey. So I don't give a shit. Good day. Bad day.